there are two ways of looking at this, right? One is it an investment or is it an expense? So if we look at your classic profit and revenue, equation, then profit is your revenue, the money coming in, minus your expenses. So one way to look at advertising is that it's actually a business expense, right? Because you're spending money, you're buying media, or you're hiring someone to throw an event of some sort, or you're creating some promotional merchandise. In any case, it all costs money. And so if you can reduce the amount of money you spend, you reduce your expenses, then obviously that means your profit is going to go up. And so that's an expense reduction approach to advertising. And that is an approach, I guess, if you were an advertising executive, would be quite nervous about, because basically the accountant's telling the client to cut costs. Another way to look at it, and I guess argue from an advertising point of view, is to break this formula down further into your revenue equals volume times price, right? So the cool thing about that now is that it's still the same formula, but you're just looking at it a little bit more in depth, and you've come to the realization that revenue, the money coming in, depends on two things. One is the amount of stuff you're selling or the amount of service you're providing. And the other thing is the price at which you can charge for that service or product. Now, if you take an advertising investment perspective, then that part of the formula is actually in your favor. Because what that's saying is that advertising is going to do one of two things, or maybe both. It's going to increase the amount of product that you sell because people will become aware of the product or the service, and it will also, perhaps, if done correctly, allow you to charge more per unit of product or per service provided, right? And so advertising as an investment would, I guess, formulate the argument that by advertising correctly, you increase demand for your product, and you also justify being able to charge a little bit more for it because you've perhaps really communicated the value of your product and service, or you've built a brand image to an extent that people are willing to pay a little bit more for that product or that service. If we break this formula down even further, we'll see that volume consists of trial, so the first time someone tries your product or service, and repeat, so when they come back as a loyal customer. Now, advertising, again, can help with this, because obviously you wouldn't get people trying your product in the first place unless they knew about it. And so advertising increases brand awareness, right? So we know that advertising can help in that aspect of the volume equation. The second thing is repeat. So obviously the service and the product has to meet expectations, otherwise you lose people. But provided that you satisfy your customer, then advertising also helps reinforce that repeat purchase behavior, because it keeps that brand at the top of mind with enough brand awareness. People will remember that the brand exists and will become more familiar with it, and therefore more likely to repeat purchase. So that's another argument in favor of advertising as an investment.